Hi, everyone. This is week 1 of 17, where we're going to be having a somatic practice together. And you can do this when you like. However, every Thursday at 9 AM MST, I'll be guiding these live for about 15 to 30 minutes. And it's a place where you can be in community with others, but get to really show up for yourself, by yourself. So yesterday we did the live, and I wanted to thank everyone who joined in. And I'm also going to be specifically recording this one today because there was a little bit of choppiness due to some connection issues at the beginning of yesterday's. So for those of you who were here yesterday, or May 7th, or whenever you're watching this, this will be a similar practice, which is focused on increasing our ability to hold our center and hold our sense of groundedness while the winds of change, meaning life, is swirling all around us. So we are always going to be subject to things that are out of our control or things that feel unknown or unknowable. And the purpose of this particular somatic practice that I'm offering today is to increase our resilience and ability to stand in the face of that. And today you can practice either standing or sitting. The movements that we do will be modifiable whether or not you're standing like I am. So I noticed that it's more challenging to be recording this than it was to be live with people. So I'm channeling all of you that were here with me on May 7th so that I can feel inspired. So to begin, you may choose to be sitting or standing, but I'm just going to start to have awareness about where in space you are. So you might notice a particular thing on the wall, a color you're drawn to, or maybe you just notice a little image that's on your desk, or something about the particular place you're in. So just invite you to kind of turn your observation external to where you are and see what draws you in, what you're pulled to. Just maybe notice 1 or 3 things. And as you're doing this, you can kind of gradually imagine that outward energy is starting to pull in, and you're starting to notice and recognize your breath. The fact that you are breathing. It's starting to come a little bit more internal, a bit more towards yourself. And now we're going to take our left hands and place it just below the belly button. You might put maybe the thumb of the left hand inside the belly button. We're going to just access and place our hand on center. And just notice what it feels like to observe and experience this center. This center place is always available to you, and it's a place that we'll be acknowledging deeply throughout our grounding practice and centering practice today. So just with your hand there, whether or not you're sitting or standing, you can just maybe take a few micro movements while maintaining an awareness of that center. I like to kind of ground my feet and feel like my toes are holding into the earth. Whatever feels nice right now. And this is a perfect time to remember that whatever sensations arise during this practice are normal, and they are an invitation for exploration or not to be explored. It's your choice, dealer's choice, on what you would like to observe in yourself, the sensations, maybe the temperatures, maybe there's visuals, maybe there's tingling or hardness or softness. We're just going to use this practice to notice and welcome and accept any of that. So still with your hand on center, start to breathe into that place. So We're filling the breath from there and just continuing to kind of visualize ourselves coming into that center place. And now from this center place, we're going to explore length. So notice that as you're standing or sitting, there's room and space above your head, kind of imagining to straighten and lengthen yourself up towards the sky. Just notice that you can lengthen as well as ground. So visualize that from your center, you're growing out from the bottom and up from the top to experience your length. And notice that your head is not actually the barrier for your full length, but you actually extend farther up energetically outside of the crown. So we're going to explore the length that exists in the body while still acknowledging that length coming down and up from the center. I observe that I'm experiencing some anticipation of how this is going to go today while I center myself in my length. This length is a reminder of our dignity as human beings. We stand or sit in this length, and when we acknowledge our length, we can acknowledge our own dignity and the dignity of others. Just kind of relish and enjoy this dignified sensation, this sense of your own dignity. And now that we've explored some length, we're going to explore a little bit of our width. So imagine, a little bit out to the right of you. I guess that would be this way. A little bit out to the right of you and to the left of you. And just start to kind of imagine that field as well. In the same way that you lengthened up and down, you can express and explore that width that's left and right of you. And again, start to observe how your sense of self, while really rooted here from the center, emanates farther than just from the physical arms or the physical side body, but your width is a little bit more expansive than that. So just start to recognize that. And as you're exploring this width, you can bring your attention back to your palm, which lays on your center, and you might choose to adjust or kind of identify a more appropriate center. Maybe it's like a little bit to the left for you right now. Just notice, move your hand accordingly. So we've explored and experienced our length and the width on our left and right. And there's another dimension of depth, which we'll explore in the next practice, but if it's interesting to you, you can imagine first the space behind you, the back body, and then maybe the space in front. While still remaining attended to and in tune to the center. There may be some discomfort, there may be a nice, beautiful feeling of comfort. Whatever is arising is so perfect. Now that we've centered and become aware of our length, specifically our length and our width, we're going to observe and participate in some movement in our body, allowing our body to participate in movement. And as our body is moving, we can visualize that all around us in life, things may be changing, but even as we may move with that change, our center can remain. So firstly, we're going to explore some upward lengthening movement. So if you're seated, you can just start to kind of imagine coming up 1 to 2 inches, maybe with your head moving upwards, maybe your shoulders are rising. And if you're standing, you can do the same. We're just kind of entering into some of that extra length we found, kind of feeling ourselves maybe getting into a rhythm of up and down, exploring this length. And then we might start to kind of raise onto our toes if we're standing, or reaching a little bit more into our length if we're on a chair. Just notice and maybe you kind of observe that this is maybe a little bit different than standing or sitting was. We'll just rest back down and kind of come back to the center and notice maybe what was different for you about that experience of some light movement. We'll do a little bit more in a bit, but just focus on that light movement for now. We're going to introduce a similar small movement now to our width. So we're going to just maybe put some weight to the right side and some weight to the left side, just some small movements. Continuing to breathe, that's a reminder for me right now too. Continuing to breathe and observe that the center never leaves. There's always center. Okay, so we've been moving left and right, and now we'll settle back in. Now we're going to explore stretching that movement a little bit more. The purpose of somatics is for us to gain new shapes of being and new ways of arriving in the world. So we're going to be stretching and exploring ways of moving through our body such that we can take them out into the rest of our life. So you may choose to start with a little bit of movement in length, so maybe raising the head up. And now you may choose to go left or right as if we're making a bit of a triangle, kind of circle or triangle movement. So we're going up and then to the right and then to the left. And allow yourself to continue to come back to center as you do these movements. So we're going to go up and right and left. And now I invite you to choose the direction and the movement that feels best in terms of this width and length. So maybe you'll go left, right, and up, whatever feels right for you. So just try to come into a rhythm that your body is longing to explore right now. And as we kind of fall into our individual rhythms and notice this movement, observe any sensations, maybe a new emotion is arising or a different sense of being is coming up for you. So just notice and welcome. It could also feel really uncomfortable, which is also normal, a normal human sensation. So now we're going to continue to explore some of that up length, the width, and I'm going to use the word change. And when I use the word change, I invite you to enter into new rhythm. So if you're currently moving left to right and you hear a change, maybe you'll introduce a few upward motions. So just continue to breathe and allow the body to explore some of that length and width change. Change. And change. And we'll do 2 more changes. Change. Change. I feel like a little top is kind of coming to the center again. So notice yourself rolling back towards that center place and becoming still. Just as we started our practice. Observe whatever sensations are arising. Maybe there's a temperature or a sense of movement, a sense of stillness in a unique place in the body. Whatever is there, we're going to notice it and accept and welcome it, just like we accept and welcome all of the ways of being that you have explored thus far and that you will continue to through the course of your life. It's magical to imagine all of the ways we can choose and intend to show up. You might want to just take a few more nice belly breaths, acknowledging your center for holding you even as you are taking in some intricate or different types of movements and changing. So just acknowledge that that center has remained. And take a few nice breaths and start to recognize the space you're in physically again. Maybe as you open, you'll notice that your eyes actually are bringing in more peripheral visuals because your eyes have softened. This is an indication that the eyes are soft. Notice what's changed or shifted for you physically since we began. I definitely feel nice, but whatever you're feeling is so wonderful, and I look forward to meeting you next week. I think next week or May 14th, we'll be doing a practice. And if you would like to sign up to have these practices in your calendar so you get a nice alert. I know for me, everything's in my calendar. Please just send a little note in the comments, maybe with your email, or find me on Facebook, Brooke Ramsay, and I'll be happy to